important, start gathering stuff
Yeah,
up,
that's
so.
on you. We decide who needs to go and who needs not to go.
I think we were looking at the employee manual. It was approved at one time, but it was never really signed, I think. But I think there's some things in it that I think that are not, I think we've had some issues with some wording in there that,
Right.
that we need to kind of, might have to revisit.
And some needs to be properly elaborate, some sections need to be elaborated on, so it gets clear direction. I know that we've made some internal changes with, like rolling over vacation instead of it being paid out. Capping that out at some point. When does that kick, but I think it was, I think it said you had to wait a year to use your vacation.
Right.
And really, for morale purposes, I moved that to 6 months. I feel as if there's 6 months, so we need to get all that in writing, so that not only that y'all know what's going on, but also so that employees have clear direction as well.
And the flow chart too, with the
Right,
flow chart.
and a new flow chart, we need to revisit that.
Okay.
So we'll move on to item 3, discussion and action items to be considered. Item A, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the minutes of the planning and zoning hearing on the regular meeting, both held on February 4th, 2025. Is there a motion?
Mayor, we can take these separately because I think Councilman Howard was not here at one of these, so.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and take a motion for the approval of the minutes of the planning and zoning hearing.
I'll make a motion.
Second by Councilman Dominguez. Any discussion on those minutes? That was the one for Coastal Bend lots. Okay.
That was a regular meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one.
And so there's no discussion. We'll go ahead and move forward with the approval of the minutes for the planning and zoning hearing. Place 1,
Yes.
place 2, oh, place 3,
Yes.
place 4,
Yes.
place 5.
Shoot in the bathroom.
So they have a motion to approve the minutes held for the regular meeting held on February 4th.
Make a motion for the minute, regular meeting, February 4th.
We have a second.
I'll second.
A motion by Councilman Falcon to approve the minutes of the regular meeting, second by Councilman Dominguez. Any discussion, anything in there that you guys noticed? Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think I had any questions on that. So we'll move forward with to the vote to approve the minutes of the regular meeting. Place 1,
Yes.
place 2, place 3,
Yes.
place 4,
Yes.
and place 5 is out. Item B, consider and take action to ratify a second.
Those votes go through?
Yes,
They're approved?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Discuss, consider, and take action to ratify a second amendment to Lake Texana to Corpus Christi Water Pipeline Project, water pipeline easement and right-of-way. Sal, you want to kind of just share with the council what this is about? I know we talked about it.
So previously, y'all had ratified the same amendment. However, what had happened, I'm gonna show you a map here. CC Corpus Christi Water engineer I've been dealing with, he said that they ended up moving the location of the valve. And if you see up here, so this is, I think, this is our property here, but I think we leased it or gave the property or some, I can't figure out the verbiage for that, to the.
We allow them to use it for the,
Just allow them to use
They
it.
have a
Okay.
99-year lease
So it's a lease for
for
like
$5 a year.
Okay. So the original location of the valve was gonna be here, and it just moved over, so being sticklers, they just needed to do another amendment, notating that this is where the location's gonna be. Nothing, I first got confused thinking like it was gonna be here, but after we discussed about potentially being too close, they said, no, it's gonna be about here. And what this is, again, is an upgrade to the Mary Rose pipeline. This will increase flow also to our plant as well, and other areas that could use this pipeline as well.
So what was the reason to move it from here to here?
Engineering, I'm not sure, I think this is where the valve, the existing valve is now. And they, rather than replace the existing valve, they're gonna just kind of do away with it and put a whole new one in the yellow section. So I think they're going from, I think it's like a, okay, don't quote me on that, I believe it's going from a 2-inch valve to a 10-inch valve or something, or to a 4-inch valve, something like that. Just a larger valve, like, to improve flow.
Okay.
And so that amendment's gonna be, that's already on this new one, right?
Yes.
And so we don't have to re-sign anything. The amendment just added to it.
Basically, this paper, no additional cost, no.
And look at the thing is, it's a 64-inch pipe. They have to do a hot tap. They have to move it in order to get it run wide enough to. I make a motion that we, go ahead with the ratification of the second reading.
Do you have a second? Second by Councilman, motion by Councilman Huerta, second by Councilman Alvaro. There's no other discussion. We'll move forward with a vote. Place 1, place 2, place 3,
Yes.
place 4,
Yes.
place 5. Motion carried. Item C, discuss, consider, and take action to approve an agreement for ambulance, emergency, and non-emergency medical services with Lone Star Ambulance Service 1 LLC, DBA Alliance Mobile Health. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
There's a motion by Councilman Falcon to discuss and take action to approve the agreement for ambulance service. Do I have a second?
No second.
Second by Councilman Huerta. So we'll open up for discussion. On this, there's a pretty substantial increase, correct, Sal?
Yes. This was actually probably the second to last proposal from Allegiance. At the time, I believe it was probably the best deal we're going to get compared to what we would get with other ambulance services. There was a last proposal, but after some kind of back and forth negotiation, I was hoping Mr. Gillespie would be here. Oh, okay.
Yes,
Sorry, you want to come up and,
So,
Sorry.
Sal, was this the first one or this? Because you kept getting.
You can come up, Mr.
Yes.
Gillespie, up here too.
You kept getting a different contract. right?
right. And after I asked Mr. Gillespie about, the back and forth was every month that we sort of kept waiting, the profit, what was the term you used? The loss varied.
Yeah, so
to them.
we had a significant change in expenses this year. It was very difficult to predict. Every month it was, I sent the annual financials to Sal so you guys can take a look at it, but it was a bit of a roller coaster. So we're having a hard time kind of projecting what this coming year and the years beyond we're going to look like. So we had a little bit of back and forth with me and Sal and our CFO to try to nail this down. Our last numbers that came out December gave our CFO some confidence that we had it kind of figured out, and we're able to go back to the slower ramp proposal that we initially had. So yeah, I do apologize for the back and forth. There was a lot of uncertainty over the months. If you look at the months, there were some huge deficits, some not so bad deficits, but some huge deficits. So it was a true roller coaster. So we're pretty confident that the slower tiered ramp up over the 5 years will be sufficient to stabilize it and not have to have the faster ramp up that we initially thought after it was probably the second round of discussion. So so that we were able to go back to the original more conservative ramp up, if you will.
And I think that we did look at like other
Oh, yeah, I
other
looked into-
services, and
I looked into your other ones and they are very expensive.
Yes, sir.
yeah, everything was going to be pretty much where we were, and you guys have been with us for so long. I mean, your staff knows our community pretty well, and we know them pretty well. So, I mean, it just wasn't, it didn't really seem feasible for us to try to go with someone else when, we're not really going to be, the cost is going to be almost pretty similar. So,
There's also the mutual aid factor as well.
Yeah,
mean,
but
they're-
that's what I like.
Yes.
is that, There, you guys pretty much are, or every city.
Yes, sir. We have 2 ambulances in Portland at all times, 3 ambulances over there in Sinton. We have our ambulance here. We have 2 over in Mathis. Actually, the wildfires that are going on, we have 12 ambulances covering the wildfires right now. They're in the, between here and Sinton right now.
So we're always gonna have coverage.
Yes, sir. Yeah. In total, Allegiance operates 60 ambulances here in the coastal bend. We're a real strong presence. And then our corporate headquarters is in Corpus. We're a Corpus Christi company.
So Sal, if you could put what is our monthly cost going to be? I mean, just so we can let the community know where we are.
It's on there right there.
20,000 on the right side.
Yeah, it shows.
There we
the
go,
stair-step
monthly.
increases.
So where were we
We were,
previously?
I actually we should have a spreadsheet here that will kind of just break it
Just
down.
shy of 15,000.
16.
Little under,
Like
little under
4,000.
15,000.
14 something?
So it goes up like 5, I think it goes up like 5,000 a month,
Yeah.
the first, and then there is after, I think after 3 years, and then it locks, it stops, going up for 2 years.
So how many years out?
Till 2029, so.
2029?
So we're looking at that's what we're looking at as far as the increases, correct?
Yes, sir.
So we're looking at
locked in.
the,
Yeah, so in 26, it'll hit its final step, and then it'll lock those last 3 years will be locked in. There won't be increases after that.
Yeah, if you see, so they have been kind enough to, while we negotiated, we still were being billed monthly up until this last month of our previous rate. So when we signed this, starting I guess our bill in April will be this new agreement. So while we didn't predict for this in our budget, it won't sting as much as before, as we would have started paying this right from the get-go. So
well, I think that also myself and Sal have been, especially when we were looking at the bigger increases, we're like, okay, so where are we going to cut to make sure that we can? So we spent a lot of time looking at our budget, because obviously this kind of expense wasn't in our initial budget. But I think some of the things that we've talked about, just kind of managing our costs in other areas, and things will be okay. We can get through the year, and then we can, for our next budget year, we'll be a little bit, we'll be able to approve the funds for the next budget year. So, but yeah, I think that we've kind of looked at where we can, kind of do our best to kind of cut back in other
And
areas.
I assure you that these dollars do come with an investment arm. So you guys are slated to get a brand new ambulance this year, and you're also going to be upgraded to, your ambulance crew will be carrying, it's called a Lucas device, but it's a CPR.
Mhm,
If you guys have seen those, where the machine does CPR for the patient.
mhm.
The survival rates are much better with those devices, because the depth and the rate is extremely consistent versus having somebody just jump on, and there's not a lot of consistency in the depth and the rate when somebody does CPR manually. So we have ordered those for all of our 911 trucks in the coastal bend, and Odom will be receiving one of those Lucas devices this year as well.
They don't get tired as easy either, do they?
And yeah, exactly. So the paramedic will be able to put that device on somebody if they're in cardiac arrest, and then they'll be able to manage their medications and manage the heart monitor and stuff, and then the CPR machine does but that's, those are about a $30,000 device.
Wow.
But we've elevated our standard of care to those new machines now that they're out, and Odom will be getting one this year with the brand new ambulance.
Just a question now. We're also gonna get some new houses back over here in this lower part of this ETJ, and also hopefully we'll get some new with Lori over there. Is that gonna be a problem, servicing?
No, I don't believe so. No, not at all.
We got, I think, 150 homes here, maybe 15, 20 back over there, so.
Well, there'll be probably in the next 18 months, 18 to 20 months or so. So
Yeah, no, we have plenty of resources in the area to be able to cover what's going on now, and then the growth in the future. The nice thing about the growth in that too, as the call volume, we share our financials with you guys. As the call volume goes up, I mean, we bill and collect for those. So the more billable transports there are, the less a community has to pay in subsidy to offset the cost of that ambulance being available. So, adding big neighborhoods like this helps increase the call volume, and then we can track that and maybe able to start doing rebates back against what the subsidy offset is to the community because of the growth in volume.
Great. Well, I was talking to one of your paramedics because I think they had some issues with water at one point about a month ago or so. But we did talk about, we're going to try to take a look at maybe doing some remodeling in there for them and try to make it a little bit more homey for them, give them maybe a little bit more space. I apologize. I usually cut this off. But I did talk to him, so, hopefully, later on in the year, we'll be able to kind of sit down. I don't know if I sit down with him or reach out to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But kind of walk through and see how we can, make their accommodations a little bit
Happy to do a walkthrough.
better for them. Any other questions?
Your dispatching comes out of St. Pat?
The county dispatches the 911, tones out the trucks, and then they send it to our dispatch center, and they do what's called emergency medical dispatching. So if somebody's in CPR or even up to delivering a baby, they can give them those. Excuse me, I sound by those fires. We can give them medical instructions over the phone while they're waiting for the ambulance to arrive, and our EMD dispatchers can actually walk people through how to deliver a baby and do some incredible things. But the county will get the 911 call, and then they tone out the ambulance as soon as they get the address and the nature of the call, and then they push the caller over to our emergency medical dispatch center for any of the pre-arrival instructions, and they stay on the line with the caller until the fire trucks and the ambulance arrives.
Good. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, I know that Sal, weren't you and Angela working on something as far as the addresses and stuff, trying to get, and I think that's something that, we'll be able to provide to you all, because I know sometimes they've had issues with responding and the GPS is one location, but the ambulance. So I think Sal and Angela actually are working on, I don't know if it's you, Betsy, if you're, but they're working on some of the addresses around the community. So, so we'll be able to provide that.
Whenever those situations, I guess, happen, you can send us whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, because
Make sure that
our ordinance requires, numbers on homes for sure. And then that, but I'll give a report on that when we get to that section.
So hopefully when we'll get that, and once we get that together, we'll be able to provide maybe something to y'all like that. We won't have as many problems in the future. So
Luckily, most of the crews have been around for a long time. So
yeah, for sure.
if it's somebody getting turned around, it's likely somebody just picking up an overtime shift covering for all the local. But most of the crews that we have out here have been out here since we started, so very familiar with the area.
Yeah, I was talking with the paramedic I was talking to. We were at the Stripes, and it's surprising that they even come out to get something in public, because I think he must have had 4 or 5 people come up to him and ask him questions.
Yeah.
While he's there, but he's very professional, very polite, answered their questions, didn't like brush them off or anything. But I told him, I said, man, it says I wouldn't even come out to eat in public if they're gonna mug you like that every time. He says, yeah, but they usually have questions that we can answer pretty easily. So, but he was very professional. So I was very impressed the way he dealt with the public, and some of their questions. So.
So, is our building any part of this contract?
Yes, I did ask Mr. Gillespie if part of this agreement did deal with the fact that we did provide the building and pay electricity. He said it was accounted for.
Yeah, initially when we wrote the agreement, that was factored into the cost that was being paid. It just was never listed in there or what the consideration was. I think it was like $2,500 or something was the consideration that we made on the square footage of the lease. But now it's actually listed of what the consideration is against the subsidy. But there is a spin down that we assumed if, since you guys provided that, it was an expense that we would have had to provide. We went and found the property ourselves. So it's listed in the agreement now what the credit is.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Was the city growing? Is there gonna be 2 ambulances here as the city grows, or just one?
Just one right now. So each ambulance, just to put it in a perspective, each paramedic ambulance costs about $600,000 a year to operate. So there's only 2 ways to pay for an ambulance. It either goes on transport, goes on call and transports the patient, bills the insurance and collects revenue, or the municipality pays a tax subsidy to cover that. So it gets very expensive when you start adding on when it's not needed. Luckily, we have a unit in Sinton that is not specifically dedicated to Sinton. So when Odom goes out on a call, that third truck in Sinton starts moving this direction, or if Taft, it starts moving over there. And that unit kind of floats around in the county and provides immediate backup to not only Taft and Odom and Annapolis don't have to pay additional funds for an ambulance that just sits there pretty much. And our call time is about one a day on average here. So if you added another ambulance, there would be a whole lot of downtime that the community would be paying for that. So that other ambulance and sending that floats helps provide that backup without any municipality actually have to pay for it.
Because, one of them is going like for example, and then about 10 minutes later, you see the one who's in.
Yeah. And our dispatch system, it uses a lot of what do you call it, AI. So it tracks that and starts moving ambulances around automatically. It's really slick. So if you look at our dispatch screens, the dispatchers have all their dots, and if Odom goes out, then it'll automatically start flashing on the Sentinel one, and it'll page the Sentinel crew saying go post in Odom or go post in Taft. It's a really cool system, but a lot of it's done in the background automatically now. It doesn't require any human intervention. It's really slick.
Just a quick question. I'm probably not standbys on the football games. Yeah, how are we going to work that?
They do it now, don't they?
So right now, y'all, the ISD is directly dealing with you on those agreements. So I know that was a question that came up, is should that be coming through us to you? I know some council members had asked about that, just so it's straightforward.
Sure.
I mean, not that we're trying to step on anyone's toes, right? But what's the proper way,
Sure.
Since we're the ones, I guess, paying for it, right? Or the citizens are.
Yeah,
City of Odom.
Stephanie Newsom, our chief, she's at the fire right now, so I'll have to ask her, because some ISDs do it where they just want the community ambulance to go sit and if they get a 911 call, then it goes, runs a call, and comes back. Other ISDs want the ambulance to stay and not leave whatsoever.
Who transported if someone gets hurt?
What's that?
If somebody gets hurt, a kid gets hurt, who's going to do transport?
It'd still be the 911 ambulance.
Okay.
Yeah, that would transport anybody at the stadium that would be injured.
Yeah, and I think that for the most part, your crews are always there. They get with the school gets with them about the schedule, the home game schedule, and they're there. But if they do get a call, they do leave, and at the time, the school knows that if there is an injury or something that they might have to call, the sit and you guys do that. I mean, we just call 911 and I know that they'll come out, but you guys have always been, like I said, I mean, the service that you provide for the city goes far and beyond just, the emergency services. You guys do a lot of stuff for the community as well. Being out there for those football games and some of the other events that we have here in town. So we really appreciate the relationship that we have with y'all, and we hope that we can continue to have a very long, fruitful relationship with y'all. And as we grow, hopefully, as the community grows and we get out there and we start marketing, and the population goes up, obviously, we might have to revisit, this agreement later on, but, for now, you guys have done a lot for our community, and I really appreciate it. I also appreciate what y'all do for the firefighters. I've been out there to some of the fires and just kind of sat in the background and watched, our guys out there in the grass fires, tired, sweaty, and you guys are there to provide, a aid to them and assistance when they need it. And I don't know if that's part of the agreement, but I've seen your paramedics.
Make sure the ambulance has got the nice cold AC running and cold water inside for them. So I can't say enough about our firefighters and your crew, because I get the e-dispatch on my phone, and
They must have been called out maybe 4 or 5 times today, to Taft,
Yes,
Edroy,
busy today.
Mathis, and Sitton. So, but yeah, we
Mayor,
appreciate it.
If I may, so in the contract, it does state that they would do the mutual aid directly with the school. I'm okay with it if y'all are, as long as we're just kind of open about it, right? I mean, it's less administrative work on our part, and if y'all are okay with
I'm
it.
okay with it as long as they're not gonna ask him to stay there and not go on a regular call.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
there's
if
a
they-
regular
so
call,
when the
Yeah.
schools do that, what we do is we'll bring in a different truck.
okay.
And then we sign an agreement with them for an hourly rate for that unit to be dedicated, because then it's
Yeah, that's
essentially,
what-
it's
Yeah,
it's
I'm
part of
okay
the
with
first aid
Yes,
pack.
I'm,
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
that's what I was
If
getting
you look at
at.
like Rockport, most of the schools just say, hey, we've got our trainers here and everything. And just, if you're gonna have an ambulance sit by, yeah, if it goes up, if it gets a 911 call, it has to go and come back, no problem. But, and then there's no fee for it, because it's still serving the community. It's just parked at the game rather than parked at the station during
Right.
that time. And, 99% of the time, it's fine. And then if something does happen, the schools have their trainers, and then the other ambulances run in to respond.
So then if the school wants one there at all times, there'll be hourly rate for them.
Yeah, it's just different agreement with the schools when they want to do something dedicated like
I'm good
that.
with that.
But very few schools want to do it because it's not.
It's not in their budget.
Yeah, when you look, well, and then if you look at the usage, not gonna if you look at the usage, it's not very high.
No,
Right.
no.
Most of the stuff's handled by the trainers and the staff that are there. So to pay all that money to have something dedicated when you can just have the local resource just sit tight, and it doesn't cost anybody any
I
money.
want to ask a question about that CPR machine.
Yes, sir.
Am I wrong that when a human does it, sometimes they break the ribs? Is that common?
It's part of
So is
CPR.
this going to prevent that? Is it going to know the difference between him or a woman her size?
So
Would it have settings? Does it have settings?
So there's no way to prevent broken ribs during CPR, unfortunately, that's just part of it. In fact, if you don't have broken ribs after CPR, it wasn't done correctly.
Because I know you mentioned that the human gets tired.
Right.
It'll be different. So this will be doing at a rate set to,
The machine knows it, so there's a computer head on top of the device, and it will read the body type as it's pushing, and it knows that it doesn't, you don't have to tell it anything. You hook it up, it gives a couple of pumps,
okay.
and it learns what the
So
body
the
type
human
is
puts it
on.
on top and it figures it out?
It does, yeah,
Okay.
and the computer will test the depth, and then
And will it
start.
still break the rib?
It will, yeah.
Okay, okay.
Like I said, unfortunately, that's unavoidable when you're
Okay.
doing
I just-
CPR, yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah. I mean, when I first went to the fire academy, and they were teaching us, they're like, it's gonna sound gruesome, but that means you're doing it correctly.
I didn't know it was that bad. I had heard
It is,
it
yeah.
possibly.
First time
wrong,
did
but you said
Absolutely.
It shouldn't break.
Yeah, unfortunately,
You're
yeah,
gonna
if
eat
you
that?
don't have broken ribs, you didn't get the right depth, and then you just, it wasn't doing anything for the patient. And a lot of times, when a person's doing CPR, that's one of the reasons that it's not effective, and if it wasn't good, because they hear that cracking, and then they're like, I can't do it, because you're effectively destroying somebody's rib cage, right? But you're saving their life. That machine
It's good for toddlers? I guess?
just goes at it.
Babies, toddlers, or there an age?
There is, yeah, so, you can't put an infant on it, but you can put a small, 2 on up there. But you wouldn't want to put an infant on it.
So any more discussion? We'll move on with the vote. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And, I'm sure, Sal, you don't have anything else?
No, we're good.
All right,
There
well,
was
I
one thing, that there was
appreciate-
3 ambulances here in Otis. One for the football player, one for the mom, and one for her sister. They had all 3, just, it was okay.
What rates it?
So we'll go ahead and move forward with the vote. We had a motion to approve the agreement for ambulance, emergency and non-emergency medical services with Lone Star Ambulance Service One LLC, Alliance, DBA Alliance Mobile Health. If there's no more discussion, we'll move on with the vote. Place 1,
Yes.
place 2, place 3,
Yes.
place 4,
Yes.
place 5. So motion carries. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for working with us so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Zach. Yeah. Sign.
I'm gonna go back out to the fires. Okay,
Yeah, sure,
I don't wanna
sure.
All right, thank
keep the
you.
vote and run. I didn't want to be
Yeah, that's
rude.
okay. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
We'll move on to item D, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the development agreement provided by A1 Contracting, Inc. for the development of the 2 parcels of land One parcel is 4.528 acres, and the second parcel is 3.891 acres, located south of Hancock Street and adjacent to Webb Street. Both parcels will be used to continue the Odom South subdivision for single-family residential homes. The preliminary plat is presented as Odom South, Unit 2, Phase 5. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the development agreement provided by A1 Contracting.
So there's a motion by Councilman Huerta to approve the development agreement. Do I have a second?
I'll second for discussion.
So there's a second for discussion only by Councilman Dominguez. So we'll move on to discussion. Can we do that with the, right? So we'll move on with the discussion only on the motion. So we'll open it up.
I see that you put something on Facebook, and I'd like you to go ahead and discuss it, because
Sure.
I want to know what you got in mind for, you put it out to the public, and
Right.
so
So,
let us know what you want.
So I'm not, and I think I spoke to Sal, and I think Sal kind of really reiterated this. I don't think the city's really in a position right now to be waiving some of the fees that were requested. I also kind of had Epi kind of look at the contract. There's some verbiage in the contract that I personally didn't really agree with, that I think that we need to look at a little closer if the council is going to move forward and try to approve the agreement. I think that, and on Article 2, Section 1.1 says the city of Odom agrees to waive building permits and sewer tap fees exclusively for A1 Contracting, Inc., up to 35% of total lots in this subdivision. I don't know what fees we're talking about. If we're talking about building permits and sewer fees, there's a lot of building permits. They can run up into, $3,000-$4,000 worth of fees. When you're looking at building permits and sewer tap fees, it's not really explaining what fees we're talking about. It's just very vague. I don't want the city to be put in a position where we're having to waive all the fees because it's not really explained. And then, of course, I didn't like the wording that says exclusively for A1 Contracting. We have other builders that are looking at building within the community. If this is something that we're going to do for one, I expect that we do for all the builders. I think, to be fair, that we treat every builder. I don't want a developer to come in here and say, well, I'm not going to develop in Odom because we're not being treated fairly. They're treating this developer differently than they're treating us. So I don't want any developer to feel like they're not being treated the same as we would be, with your development. Then there was some other section in
Question, a development agreement is to get annexed, correct? Is that the way?
No, you approved the annex, but it's not like all said and done until the development agreement is signed. And
Explain that to me again.
so y'all approve the annex, and then there's an ordinance that comes after that, but the ordinance comes in after y'all approve the development agreement.
The development agreement is more of a negotiation. That's what it is.
Okay,
So every developer has an opportunity to be treated the same,
correct.
and they can always ask for what they want.
Okay,
I mean, that's just the way it is.
okay.
and the other thing that, go ahead.
Now, just to say that, A1 construction or contracting has been around this is already phase 5. I mean, it's been going already 4 mayors. So it's been going on since the Jesse Rodriguez days, the Billy Joe days. When I was fairly new as a councilman, I remember helping A1 contracting with The streets, we help them with the streets. We say, you know what, we'll help you with other streets.
But the
So-
city may not have been in the financial situation that we're in right
But right
now.
now, you're not
you know.
losing anything, you're
Oh.
not giving no money. If she decides not to annex, she can even say, you know what, I'm gonna stay out here.
Sure,
You have to give me water, because
sure.
she's under CCN, so she can stay out there, she don't have to put lights. She don't have to put sidewalks,
Sure.
she don't have to put curb and gutter,
Yeah,
she can just get roads approved by our commissioner, and that's it.
okay.
So, you know.
And we lose the
And-
tax, and we lose the tax base.
And I understand, and I
That's the only thing.
And I understand that, but when we're looking at just the total amount of fees, we don't know what that total amount is. And when we're talking about taxes, the city only gets about 30% of the taxes that the resident pays. So we're looking at about. We're looking at, we have the figures of them. There's another section,
Based on my discussions with Ms. Walker, she was asking for waiver of the administrative permits only. So what that equated to per new build roughly is, per home total, just permits alone, it's, $1,580.60. That's per home. $1,580.60. Sorry. And then. You'll have that in your packet, by the way.
Yes, that's right here in my packet.
Yeah, so that's just, those are fees, right?
That's, okay, wait, let's go back to,
That's
that's
just,
section 1-1, is that correct? Lori, is that correct? Section 1-1?
Yes.
That's all that is, right there.
Per home, yes.
That's all.
So, yeah, I asked for 35%.
So that's 1-1, period.
yes, but it's not specific to what fees were just, I know that she had a discussion with Sal, and she said administrative fees, but that's not outlined in the agreement, that it's just administrative fees.
Well, that is
So-
the only thing
so-
that we can waive, though.
So,
By law, we cannot waive inspection fees, all those electrical fees. By law, you cannot do that.
So there's
So
another,
obviously, if you wanted the wording, then you could just specifically say permit fees.
so then we're looking at even Article 2, we're looking at Section 1.2, when we're talking about permits. It's also a section that talks about the city agrees to waive the following development fees with regards to this project, which is lot and acreage fees for water and wastewater, pro rata fees for water and wastewater, except the pro rata fees required where within. I don't know exactly what we're talking about there as far.
Putting in the lines as the developer for the city.
Okay, so what fees are you asking for
We
us to
don't-
waive?
We don't normally have fees, but that's in the agreement we've had for the last 4-5 phases.
Oh, and I understand, and
This is
maybe,
y'all's form that I went
Mhm.
on. And so if
um,
you wanted to be more specific about my, if I decide to build, I might
Mhm.
not even decide to build a house.
okay.
But if I did, that's why we were trying to be specific about the permits.
so, we did break it out so that y'all can see what that looks like, just in the administrative fees. And what that means is that the builder comes into City Hall, they pay their $100 per permit, and there's there's 4 per home, and some additional ones, so that's $125 a pop. So, make sure I filled that right. $100, and then there's and this is on average because of the square footage on average was about,
You lost it again.
there's something going on with this stuff right here, sorry. So, sorry, I'm not sure what's going on. Okay, so anyway, so you'll see up here, like it's 100 and then 1,167. That's because we do 60 cents per square foot on that permit. Sewer, water, 125. So, that's where we get that from. And what that means is that they come in, we issue a form saying, yes, you may do this work. And then that's what that cost is. Everything after that, the inspections, that's all, that's different, and they would pay for that, aside from what she's asking. So if you just took that rough 1,592, and she said 35% of her 31 homes, that's up to 11 homes. So that'd be, if she built all 15 homes, that would be about 17,518.60 that would be waived. No, that's permit.
Can you move your
Pays
thing
for
again?
inspection fees.
So,
So you're saying 15, but.
I think it would be the permit, the inspection permit fees. That's what that.
so the total we're looking at for the 11 homes would be 17,000 that we would be waiving.
Right, total.
You know,
If
so-
if she built all 15 and then sold sold all 11 and then the other,
Sold all 31.
if she sold all 31, she wouldn't waive anything. Those builders don't get anything because she's not building anything.
That's why
If-
it's exclusively for A1 contract.
If she's gonna build up to 35, let's just say she decided, I'm gonna build 35 homes myself, and then the difference I'm selling off, and those get sold. Only those 11 homes that she's gonna build would be waived, and that'd be a total of $18,518.60. So the difference is, over here, if you say per home, so without waivers, the city encumbers, the revenue is $3,817.60. With the waivers, we get $2,225. This is per home with and without waivers. So with the total revenue, if we didn't do any waivers, the total revenue the city would get was $118,345.60. With the waivers, the city makes $100,827. So that's that 17,000 right there. And then,
So if she don't annex, we don't get nothing.
Don't get nothing, just
So-
water.
Just water.
so I know there was always said something, that, well, you'll make your money back in taxes. I don't know that that's entirely true, because you're really never going to get whole, because this is just the black and white of it. While their administrative cost, that cost does go towards, making the city whole when you have staff working on the project, my time, their time, whatever it is. I mean, it's kind of hard to minimize, minutes, but that's where it goes for. It's not profit, that's where those fees come from. Just so you know, I'm not justifying it other way, which way or the other. So when you look at, and this was an average, we took about 5 homes close to the new build and 5 homes farther away from this build. And these are the numbers that Betsy got together. So an average home per year, tax revenue is $6,008.87. The city gets an average about 30%. And we say average is because there's exemptions, there's all sorts of, it's not exact. So that's an average about 30 homes. So the city out of that 6,000 gets 1,762. From those 31 homes, it would be 54,622 per year. And it would take about, just on this, and again, these are not hard numbers, it would take about 0.320 years to recover that in taxes. And then per month, if you're looking at it per month, it's basically $500 is what someone pays a month in taxes. City gets $150 for 31 homes on a monthly basis. It's like, well, we don't see that per year, but it's still $4,656. And for months to recover, it'd be basically about 3 or 4 months to recover.
But we don't
From
really
taxes.
recover. I mean, we're not talking about recovery, because the fees that you guys set are to cover expenses that the city has associated with those fees. I mean, we're not in the business of making money. This isn't where we can say, well, we're going to give a discount here, and we may not make it to a profit. It's not about making profit. It's about these fees pay for something. They pay for the services that the city provides. The clerk's salary, Sal's salary. Sal's been spending a lot of time. Maintenance guys going out there when the project is ongoing. The maintenance guys going out there and looking at things. They have questions. Where are the water lines? Where do we connect? The maintenance guys are out there. We're not charging the developer for every time that Sal has to make a phone call or do something associated with that project. We're not going to charge the developer every time the maintenance guys have to go out there mark a line or to do something. That's all included in these fees. So those fees do cover some costs that the city incurs while the project is going on. So that's why I myself, and being that the city is in a position where we are financially, I just don't see that we can be waiving fees. And to be fair, if we're going to waive for one developer, we have to consider waiving for all developers. And you don't or may not agree, but I'm going to be fair with all developers because I don't want anybody walking away from Odom, and because they don't feel that we're treating them fair. I think right now, you've said multiple times that, well, maybe you won't build, because you don't agree, you may not agree with what I have to say. You're already considering walking away from the project because you don't feel,
We don't need more homes.
because you don't feel that we're treating you fair. You're considering walking away from the project. And I understand that. I think that,
To me, it's the city council.
I think that you've
City
said,
council should make a decision.
and I think the city council has made decisions in the past that put us at the brink of bankruptcy. I don't want to be in that position again. Another thing that I saw in here as far as the wording of the agreement,
This is only 1 year of taxes.
Yeah,
So
it's gonna be
every
years
year,
forever.
for till Jesus comes back,
Yeah.
people are gonna be paying taxes.
Well, I was gonna ask you, how long is,
And then the
When-
taxes
That's
increase,
just
the
1
value
year.
okay,
increases.
that was gonna be my question, is it 1 year? Okay.
For what's out there.
Yeah, and this is just, you gotta do the math from there on out, and then it's just business choice.
No, she does.
This is
She's
not your
gotta do that.
sell it.
She has to do that. If she annexes, she needs to do sidewalks according to our little. This is just a development agreement. She already knows when she plants it. When she plants it, she knows she's gonna do lighting. She's gotta do sidewalks.
She's gotta do everything out of her pocket.
She already knows, she's already gotta do that.
It's out of her
But
pocket.
if she does not annex, she does not have to do all that.
Have your beaches.
And there wouldn't be any permits, I guess, waived without any homes built.
so the other thing that, under Article 3, Section 3.3, I know that you say exclusive to A1 contracting, but there's in the terms of the agreement, it says the agreement and the rights of the developer may be assigned to any subsequent owner of all or portion of the property subject to prior written consent from the city. So in here, you're basically saying that if you decide to pass this on to another developer, that, this agreement,
Like Meadowbrook is?
well, I don't know, ma'am, because I don't know what Meadowbrook's agreement was. So,
I've built all this out.
Yeah.
And
So-
I haven't never wavered, and I haven't put it to report somebody else.
So I think that, my thing is that we maybe do a workshop, maybe have our attorney look at the agreement, maybe hash out what we would like to see in the agreement as far as wording goes. So we know that, if,
Because that's what I've been in contact with them about.
I understand that, but I don't think that any of these issues were brought up in the past. But I'm bringing them up
Actually,
now
help narrow
because,
my intent of what to do over here. You're
Sure.
narrowing
and I understand that, but I'm trying to be cautious, just because of where we are. The city is still, financially, the city is still in a very fragile state, financially. We're still not, we're not nowhere near recovering. So are we in a position where we can waive fees, that those fees actually go to pay, some of the expenses that the city incurs? So,
to waive
If she doesn't do it.
17,500 to get 100,000. See, if
Well-
somebody told me, if you give me 17 and you get 100, I would do that bet all day.
but this isn't Walmart. We're not in the business of making money. We're every fee, the fees,
You're trying
the
to make
fees-
city survive.
the fee,
And
the
that's how we
fees.
do it is by building residents.
I understand that, but if I'm going to do it for one, if we're going to do it for one developer, we have to make sure that we're going to do it for all.
That's for any other
And-
developer to
and,
hire.
Every developer has a right to come and do
Sure.
whatever they want. You know, there's other developers that have come and said, hey, give us a wastewater treatment plant. We negotiated, they paid 150 and the city paid 150.
So-
You know.
I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Why do you feel that we should do this for you? That's what I would like to know.
Because I put a lot of money into the infrastructure of the subdivision, like about $1 million. So I'm trying to recoup some of the money that won't cost you all anything out of pocket to help me.
But it does cost us though, because
But
there are,
you do understand that your fees also help the city recover from.
yeah, I mean, because there are
Yeah.
costs,
Yeah,
But she
you're gonna
doesn't
get
build here,
100,000.
you're not gonna have those fees, and you're not gonna have that money.
but we don't have the cost associated with the, so I understand that. And I understand that, and if she chooses to do that,
$33,000 in the park. You spend $17,000 on trees. You spend $16,500 on a park that nobody goes to. That's a little bit more than $17,000 that she's asking for,
well,
because you're gonna be able to make money off of her. With the more people she brings in, the more people that's better for our business.
no, I do understand it, but what I'm trying to say, well, I'm just trying to make well, that was under the economic development. That was done through the economic development. Again, so I understand that, but I'm trying to make sure that we don't make any mistakes that we made in the past. So so
How are you gonna lose money all in the permit? That guy's trying to go up there north of the line, she already knows where the line is, already built the subdivision. So she's gonna know. The permit is basically just to say, for the city to get money, that's all it is, the guys don't go up there. That's why you have your inspection fees, that's where the city's gonna make all that money. So
well, the city's not gonna make money because those fees pay for a cost that's already associated. There's no,
If she's not building, what are we gonna get if she's not building?
if she doesn't, but what are we gonna spend if she doesn't build? We're not gonna spend anything, exactly. So there are still fees. So there are still costs associated with it. So, I mean, y'all could, look, excuse me, sir, you're not, hold on, you don't have the floor right now.
Okay.
So I understand all the arguments, don't get me wrong. I just want to make sure that we understand that if this is something that the council decides, I think that we need to work on the wording here. I think that we need to be in a better position as far as we understand what exactly it is that we're waiving. I think that we need to, excuse me.
She's telling you right there, a building permit fees.
Epi, I mean, I can, that's just your legal advice here. I mean,
Well, as far as building permit fees, I think they've been defined and they've been set out by Sal. So we know what the building permit fees are. I don't know if we want them to list them, if we could list them and say building permit fees shall be, and
On
we,
the contract.
on a contract on this agreement. But I don't think we need to do that because it's up there.
Black and white.
but as far as the fees that
But
we're
it's-
waiving, I don't want to be in a, where we agreed to waive.
See, we're not treating the plumbing
fees.
fees, building permit.
Excuse me, let me finish with Epi. I don't want to be in a position where the wording is so vague that we put ourselves in a position where, well, that's part of this fee or that's part of that fee. If there are administrative fees that we're talking about, like Sal and she spoke about, what are the administrative fees? Sal can break that down. These are the administrative fees and this is what we're waiving. So we know that this is what it is that we're waiving. It's a little bit more specific. Now the council can decide they don't need that wording. That's just my opinion.
We could also attach this exhibit, attach it to the agreement and put in there, administrative fees shall be as see exhibit A, say administrative fees and, list them.
I think it should be itemized, and I really don't think doesn't allow a transfer of this approval to any other builder other than her. So
Well-
if she decides to sell to Hogan, or she decides to sell to somebody, an independent contractor, they can't also utilize her, you know.
It's over and done with
Right,
because it was
exactly.
for her.
But that's not what he read earlier. He read earlier that she put a stipulation.
It can
in
be
the contract
transferred, it can be
that
transferred
could be
to
transferred.
But
another,
with
to another
consent- with-
developer.
With
Yeah, but
consent
That
of the
needs to be
council.
clarified. She should
It's-
not be able to let it transfer.
But
to
it says,
Hogan
it's gotta go
or
through
whatever
us.
other-
Yeah.
It says it's gotta go through us.
Yeah, it's gotta be approved by the council.
It's gotta be approved by the council. It does say that.
Yeah, it says A1 contracting, exclusively for A1
And
contracting.
that's
Right.
for
So
your
even
building.
if she transferred it
Yeah.
to
What
the
did you
state's
read
own.
earlier, David?
Yeah, that's what I'm
About the
looking for.
transfer?
It's gotta go through us.
And when were you planning on building? You ready now?
She's ready.
Yeah, whenever y'all approve it.
You're waiting on us.
Correct.
Plus you got,
And I gotta get
you got
the
drainage, the drainage district
Yeah,
also
yeah,
helps you out to do stuff like that too, you know, so.
See, and you gotta understand also, you know, there's no other land up there. There's not. She's got the majority of it. So she's still gonna grow more and more to the backside. I think they're gonna connect to, their subdivision, the commissioners. So
So,
all that land's already taken.
so Epi, on this, in
Oh,
this
I'm sorry,
section,
sir, but you know what I'm saying.
Epi, on this section where it says about, the developer may be assigned to another subsequent owner, where it says, with written consent of the city, which consent will not be unreasonably withheld. What exactly does that mean?
What that's making reference to is, let's say, Ms. Walker wants to, assign or sell her interest in this business to another individual. What it's saying is that before she does that, she's got to come before the council and get approval, right? And that approval will not be unreasonably withheld from her.
So what is it?
Man,
What
there's
is,
only
what is
15
it?
homes.
Which basically means that unless there's good cause, unless there's some type of good cause to withhold it, we can't.
And also, there's money making here in water, garbage, sewer.
Well, water, garbage, and sewer, we're gonna provide for her either way. So, again, this is just my opinion, obviously. I have to be open and honest with my opinion. And it's just,
Saying that they've made mistakes in the past, no mistakes were not.
well,
made.
I don't want to be,
You know,
I don't just
saying
don't want to
that,
be,
you're not-
financially,
you're not a businessman,
when it's financially,
Maybe that's why.
no, but I've seen a lot of the expenses that the city had in the past, that kind of put us into a position where we were almost bankrupt. So, I just don't want to make that same mistake again. So, again, if y'all want to go ahead up,
Put it
you want to put it up?
So-
I think you want to change your,
So just to clarify, Sal, help me out here. So City of Odom agrees to waive building permits and sewer tap fees exclusively for A1 contracting. So if you decide to sell other properties there to anybody else, they're not A1 contracting, it's you, so they die.
Right.
So this whole thing dies for them.
That's right.
But if you decide to build four, then we're only gonna do it on four.
Only four.
Everything else, if you decide to sell, they're not A1 contracted,
No,
it's
they
dead.
all gonna pay their permits to the
Okay.
city.
Okay.
The other phase that you did, how many homes did you build? Okay, how many
I
homes were
think
total?
seven or eight of them.
Okay, and how many homes in that phase?
So we just vote, there were 31. No.
31 homes,
Yeah.
and she only built
yeah,
seven.
that's it. So,
That was the last.
yeah.
Okay.
So, so you want to go ahead and change your motion, Isaac, to, from discussion to approve, or
Approve, Billy? You gonna change to approve it?
Billy already made the motion to take action. and
I'll
approve.
change mine to discuss and approve.
So if there's no more discussion, we'll go ahead and vote, on the agreement, to approve the development agreement, provided by A1 Contracting Inc. for the development of the 2 parcels of land. Place 1,
Yes.
place 2,
Yes.
place 3,
Yes.
place 4,
Yes.
place 5.
No.
So motion carries, 1, 2, 3, 4 to 1 no. Councilman Candela. So motion carries. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Start building.
Why did you tell that?
Make sure my house is away from this.
It's gonna be a long ways. I will live over here.
So then, once this is officially signed, then the next step, we need to do an ordinance for annexation, to make it all
Yeah.
official. And then, it'll be, and I'm doing this with like staff, is monitoring the conversations between their engineers and the San Patricio Drainage District. Also, our engineer needs to look at the plat and give a final approval. So we'll be monitoring all that stuff
Okay.
to finish it up.
Sounds good. So we'll move on to item E, discuss, consider, and take action to approve a preliminary plan to chip seal 3 miles of city-owned streets and install street humps. I think we had talked about this and approved 200,000, so I don't know exactly why we're,
Well, the question came up was, you did approve speed humps, you approved spent $200,000, except the roads were not determined. And I know, like, for example, like Hancock is, here's an example. So, just to recap, so Councilman Falcone, Councilman Webb, and I drove these streets and kind of got an idea of where the speed hump should go, right? But Hancock, I believe, needs work and probably could make some work. So it didn't make sense to me to put speed humps in and then come back with a chip seal. So we need to kind of just knock it out at one time. Now, if y'all decide, Hancock is definitely one of those streets you want to tackle both ways and want to hit it once. But if Willis is not, then we hit that with the speed humps, only. That's my only thing. If you see here,
hold
these
on,
are-
hold on. Where are you right there, Bill Willis? Well, I think that Klein, I'm not the speed humps. Klein has a lot of road issues as far as,
Klein's gonna be-
it's
Klein's
not
the
on
other
there.
side. I don't think we have that.
Yeah, that's not, where, this is the east side of
All
town.
3 streets have.
I did
Hazley
have-
and Klein are on the other side.
Right, I know we had Bullard as one of the streets also. I'm not
For
sure.
speed humps?
For speed humps.
Okay, no, I'm talking about the chip seal.
Yeah, no, I'm just showing the speed humps. Right?
Yeah, I don't think that the Willis, and that side of town, I think you guys did it, Billy, at one time, no, not too long ago. Willis and Baylor,
Willis is Baylor.
and Turner,
Yes.
and that was how long ago? That wasn't too long ago, right?
6 years ago, 5 years ago.
Yeah, so,
So at least on that side of town, you got Willis Street, that we have the speed humps here kind of generally, and you'll see the marks out there. And then Turner, this was another set of speed humps.
yeah.
And then Baylor was another set of speed humps.
So on Turner, we just have to be careful because the new development is gonna go there. We need to find out where exactly
We looked at
the
that.
turn in is gonna go.
We looked at
Yeah.
that.
like
Okay, so, okay.
I got a question for you. There's a road that comes in from Bethel State, which is Fifth Street, and I don't see no speed bump there. I wish I would go and say, there's one.
Yeah, there's one, there's one on Fifth,
All I see is Turner.
No, he's got different
He's
phases.
got different phases. There's one on Fifth, right where,
I'm sorry,
actually.
there is one on Fifth, I'm sorry, I don't have it up
Right
here.
Because.
Did I have it?
No, there's one.
Can you move
Fifth Street,
further?
Oh, there it is.
People coming in from Bethel State.
There it is right
There it is, right there on Fifth,
Yeah,
right
there it
there.
is. Yeah, there it is.
That's Baylor.
Oh, yeah.
What?
That's where it's gonna go right there?
Yeah.
More or less.
You blasted.
Yes.
So I guess it's like, we just need some direction here. Like if you're saying all the streets on the east side of town, majority of these don't need the chip and seal.
I think not right now
then we
because
can
they were
move
done.
Forward with the speed humps, right? And then, like I said, on the other, as far as Hancock, I think Hancock does need it. So we want to kind of do the speed humps and chip and seal at the same time. And then that's, but y'all approved 200,000 worth of roads. So after that, you got to figure out what else you want to do. So
So I have a question. I said, didn't we already approve?
you did approve, but you didn't figure out what streets you want.
But, so this is the way I look at it. I could be wrong. We approved it.
It's administrative.
Absolutely. I mean, you don't need to bring it back to the table. Just do it. Just get it done. That's what I'm thinking. You
I
don't
mean,
need.
and that's, and again, these are the things I'm still trying to figure out because it's like, I need the direction.
Unless the mayor wants to get our permission, but you already got our permission. We gave it.
Yeah, I think that we talked about it, but I told him, I said, well, if you feel like we need to take it before the council again, just go ahead and put it on the agenda, because he didn't want to
Step on
kind of
toes.
overstep. So that's why, so it,
People are waiting for this.
go ahead.
But in reality,
You know where the options at?
It's messed up like
Right
that.
across the street, that one.
It had nothing to do
short
with your dad.
street,
It
just
had
goes
everything
like
to
behind
do
the
with the
Catholic
kids
church.
leaving school 100 miles an hour.
The one, it's really
Same
messed up
here
right there.
in,
I was just-
Oh, I'm not against them, I'm just, it's curious, I'm curious now.
Yeah,
Is it
Borden.
on the side?
Yeah, when that
Oh,
little,
yeah.
that little,
Chuck,
that
Yeah,
restaurant,
you
you know,
know
had
what we're
that-
talking about?
you really
Oh,
think
the
that was
street
against
right
your
there
dad?
by where?
That was-
Yeah, that's one right there, West Borden.
Yep,
Yes,
that's it.
yes,
No,
that one
no,
right there.
it's-
It's
As far as
that
the
one,
speed
yeah.
humps, the speed humps,
That
don't
was
get
one
your
of the
brains,
Chuck
Chuck.
E. Cheese. Now that they're saying it's up to me, I gotta go. It's bad, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that they had already gone, and he just wasn't, and I was telling him just to move forward, and he just wasn't feel comfortable, so that's why we put him.
Just go ahead, just discuss that.
Yeah, so,
No action?
yeah, I don't think there's any action here.
No action?
There's no action, it's just to make sure that the public knows what's
All
going on, and then I got the
Yeah,
direction
you
now that
can
I'm
move
making.
on.
Yeah.
Go for it.
All right.
Remember, you still have over 200,000 with the drainage district where you can
That's
fix
coming
those
up.
valley gutters
That's coming up.
and that, oh, it is.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. All right.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and since it's Sal, just go ahead and let's see about that. The scope of work from the engineer, the county engineer for the chip seal, I think I already have that,
So that was
so.
another thing too, was I know that, Mayor was working, getting vendors or, getting vendors and stuff like that, helping with that kind of stuff. So that's another too, is, it's 2,000, so, we should go RFP or some of the MIBOR, that kind of stuff.
So I think what we'll do is we'll just get the scope, we'll get the scope from the county engineer, just finish it up, so I'm working with them. Just what we need, so like that, we can put an RFP out, and then, so like that, we're doing apples to apples, we're gonna have one vendor saying, well, I'm gonna do this, the other one saying, well, I can do it this much, but I'm gonna do this. We're gonna say that this is what we need done, this is what we have, this is our budget, and we need to do 3 miles of road, for this much, and then they can tell us whether they can or they can't, so.
Y'all normally take your vendor first and then work with the vendor to decide the streets?
No, what you need to decide is what work you want done. Like if you say Hancock, you're already gonna designate that, then you go for RFPs, but you're gonna have to go for silent bids.
Right.
You go with silent bids, you just don't, hey, well, how much do you bid? 50 grand, 100 grand, okay, you bid, so no, it's a silent
Yeah, they're
bid.
sealed bids.
I can
Yeah.
help you if you want.
Yeah.
And you can bring
You
everybody in.
take full control of that. You're the leader on that. Don't let them lead you.
Yeah, so,
Once they do the sealed bid, then you bring it to council and the council votes on who gets the job. Yeah, that,
so we'll move forward to item F, Odom Economic Development Corporation, Resolution 638. Item A, discuss, consider, and take action to approve Resolution 638 for the Odom Economic Development to provide up to $30,000 to install a new and inclusive swing set at the city central park. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 638.
So we got a motion by Councilman Dominguez, second by Councilman Candela. So we'll move to discussion. Jesse, want to let us know?
Okay, we got Charlie here
Okay, here he is.
with game time.
First of all, thank y'all for that. Appreciate what y'all do. I'm with Cunningham Recreation and Game Time. We're the exclusive dealer for Game Time. Game Time's been around for about 96 years. I'm new. Right now, we've got the proposal out to you. This is for a single post, double base swings. It's with 2 belt swings, and then with an expression swing and a 0G, which is an inclusive swing, and one on the far left. And this includes an ADA accessible ramp, geotextile, and EWF, which is engineered wood fiber, and then play curves. The meeting here today, the discussion here today is, I came this morning, I got some measurements of where to put it. This is what I am suggesting. There is a larger playground that already exists, and that looks like the one on the southwest side by Humphreys. I think we could tie in to the edge of that and use some of the existing playground or play curves that you're ripping out from the structure that's already there in the center. Which I kind of overshot it today. I told you on 5. That included the geotextile fabric basically laid down. That'll save you about $2,700 if you use some of that. to go around that area. It's about a 39 by 40 area, and you should have enough play curbs. So the suggestion is use it what you already have, and then with the savings, two existing playgrounds that you have right now would not be compliant just because of the mulch. There's a lot of compaction there. You're probably missing about 8 to 10 inches of mulch. And just doing the math, ballpark figures, the smaller playground is about 1,700 square feet, and that would be about $2,300 in mulch. And then the larger one is about 2,100 square feet, and that's about $2,900 in mulch. So the savings that you have with the play curves, it will offset that a little bit, and we can help you out there. Somebody mentioned the engineered wood fiber. That is the most cost efficient and ADA compliant material out there. If you're going poured in place, it gets very expensive, very expensive. So for an area like that, if you did 1,600 square feet, it's about $28 a square foot. It'd be close to $45,000 just for the rubber, the poured in place rubber. So the engineered wood fiber is what we go with most of the time. Usually the $200,000 to $300,000 job. Those are the ones that are looking for the poured in place rubber. So engineered wood fiber, it's ADA compliant, it's sifted, it goes through a sift, but it doesn't allow sharp points. It's got to go through a couple times to get rid of the splinters. So it is a very efficient and very useful material. If you are worried about any kind of wear areas, there are mats you could get, rubber mats. That GT Impact mats are about $324 a mat. And most people put them just underneath those kick out areas on the swing. So if you're concerned about that. Last thing is just utilities in that area right there. Maybe call an 811 and just kind of see if there's anything running through that area just so we know about. But other than that, I'm here to answer any questions that you might have.
Jesse, so the recommendations to move it, didn't you have future plans for that?
Not right there.
Not right there?
No.
Because you're.
Right there.
You're tackling on the whole park, right?
We're looking at maybe a gazebo right where you're putting it there.
Okay, all right, so this doesn't interfere with that.
No.
Yeah, that still leaves this wide open here, and then
We still got
you
that
can,
there.
you can
Yeah.
eventually maybe go back and put another, long-term gazebo, put the old gazebo back, or not the old one, but, redo a new one.
Yeah.
You have this space back here to, like, someone put out their basketball courts, that kind of stuff. You could do something like a
So,
small venue here.
As far as holding up to the weather, what is it? Yeah, absolutely. You talk about the engineered wood fiber or just the structure? The structure, yeah, absolutely. So Game Time, like I said, been around for 96 years. That's a good part. They'll have about a 15-year warranty, and they're going to be here. Yeah, so absolutely, yeah. So that's all. The last one that y'all purchased from Game Time was 2017. Hopefully you've seen that's held up for you. We're the ones that you go through. I'm the one that you go through. If you have any issue with parts or anything like that, I'll be the main.
So the 20,227, but you're asking if we could get more mulch to replace on the other. So what would be the total then?
So I'll have to go back I gave you ballpark numbers. I'll have to go back to our office and get the official quote.
Well, just because you see
Yeah.
30,000, that's enough.
Exactly. I know.
Yeah, economic development, what we do is we always say, not to exceed 30,000.
Right.
So we pretty much,
Yeah.
if you can work with us.
Absolutely.
All right.
So when you're talking,
How long does it take you to put up?
For installation, it shouldn't take less than a week. It'd be less than a week. As far as lead time right now, you're probably looking at 8 weeks.
How far do you go on the ground? How far?
About 3 feet.
Okay.
I think the only thing that might be out there is the sprinkler system, but I don't even know if that sprinkler system's active. The other thing is you said the wood fiber that you were talking about, this ADA compliant. Would a wheelchair be able to be rolled? Because what we have right now, I know we have a couple families who have kids who are on wheelchairs, and I've seen them out there struggling to try to get them close enough to where they can enjoy some of the.
It is considered ADA compliant. the most ADA compliant, the best thing you can get is
The rubber,
yeah, the rubber.
right?
But engineered board fiber is considered ADA compliant.
Is it, you said it compacts every
Yeah,
time?
so typically we go 15 inches. 12 inches is the level that you need. We usually put in 15 inches because you know you're gonna have compaction throughout time and weather, things like that. So outside, if you look at that larger structure on the south side, there are some lines out there on the poles.
Was that this much off?
Yeah, and there's about that much. That's designed of where you're supposed to fill to. And there's about that much sticking out of the ground. So that's why I'm saying that the savings that you're saving in the play curves, using the ones that you're bringing out, just to get back to compliance for the other two playgrounds, you need to add some.
Mhm.
And just to be clear, like with what we're doing here, if we stay, within our budget and with the additional mulch we would be AD compliant.
Correct.
And it's all accessible for wheelchair.
Yes,
And
yes.
I think part of the idea was to bring it closer here when families park here, they get the sidewalk here and it's a flatter surface, they get to the park a little quicker. And eventually, outside of this, we want to kind of make it all just one area so it's all accessible and it's all kind of together so we can start putting in, I think Mr. Falco mentioned, a ground level merry-go-round eventually, just things that are just one area.
That's great.
Later on.
So we don't have any more discussion. We're gonna go ahead. We have a motion to approve resolution 638.
Mayor, if you don't mind just going through all of them and we'll just approve resolution number 638.
I think every one of them, I think differently.
Is that?
You want?
Yeah, I prefer to kind of break them down,
That's fine.
put them all in different resolutions.
He wants different numbers for each item.
So from here on out, he wants different numbers?
I mean, I don't know why, because these are totally different projects
Those,
that being considered.
when
I know they're all by EDC, but they're different
when I went
projects.
back to pull old resolutions, that's how they were set up. So I just went with what y'all did before.
Yeah, and I think there was an issue in the past about, there were some concerns in one of the resolutions where we had multiple things on one, and I think Epi had said, well, in the future, we need to separate them, and that's the way we,
And y'all can
so
make
that's
that
why,
change now. It's not a
so I
problem.
think that's where we're moving, so, we'll just change the number from
You going back home?
638,
Yes.
we'll go to 639.
So A
Thanks for coming out.
will be,
Thank y'all for having me.
Thank you, sir.
thank you. A will be resolution 638 then, right?
Yes,
Okay.
so we have a motion to approve the resolution 638.
I'll call you.
Yeah, 638.
For the Odom Economic Development to provide up to $30,000 to install a new and inclusive swing set at the city central park. If there's no more discussion, we'll move on with a vote. Place 1,
Yes.
place 2,
Yes.
place 3,
Yes.
place 4,
Yes.
place 5.
Yes.
And we'll move on to item B, discuss, consider, and take action to approve resolution 639. Is that what we're going to do?
Yes.
So we're going to change that to 639 for the Odom Economic Development to enter into an agreement with, how do you pronounce the name? The
Gush.
Gush
Like
Gush Law Firm, PLLC, to provide legal services for the regular business of the Odom Economic Development Corporation on a as-needed basis at a maximum of $275 per hour. Is there,
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion by Councilman Falcon, second.
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Dominguez. So we'll move on to discussion. Jesse, you want to share?
Sal.
Yes, so when I came on board, there was all a bunch of, well, it was done this way, it was done that way, this wasn't done right, this wasn't correct. And some of that was true to some extent. Nothing, I don't believe illegal was done, but there wasn't a good structure for how to just proceed. So my answer to that was we need to hire an economic development attorney specifically for EDC, so that we have an unbiased individual who's worked with EDCs. They can guide the board in the right direction. And primarily, for me to kick off is we need to start developing applications for vendors. We need to find out through the attorney, how can we hold their feet to the fire to a vendor who doesn't do what they're supposed to do? How do we recover money, if they hit the road and take off, short notice, that kind of stuff. So we definitely need an attorney for that. So that's kind of where this started from. It'll definitely create a little bit more security behind what the EDC is doing. And we'll have that sort of unbiased person saying yes and no to some of the things that EDC is doing.
He's also gonna look at the bylaws.
Right.
He's gonna look at that. He's gonna look at our budget. He's gonna pretty much look at everything we're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good, y'all need that.
Economic development also discussed about, and it could be done about giving loans to new businesses. A loan will be repaid back, but we could always do it, but we never did it because we weren't guided
We didn't
like
have all the
attorney,
legality.
yeah. So, not only that, but, even, they always say, don't get your city attorney involved with your EDC, this is totally different.
Right.
I like that money deal. Other cities do it.
So if there's no more discussion, we'll move on with the vote. We have a motion to,
Sorry, Epi did have one
Okay.
issue that we want to.
The only thing I want to bring out to you is, in his letter of engagement on dated February 27th on item 3.
That's gonna change.
Okay,
He's gonna redo a whole letter of engagement.
okay.
Right, Tom?
No, that's the letter engagement.
Oh, that's a new one?
Yes, no, what he gave us was basically the, sort of the,
Oh, I didn't read that one.
And this for you guys to decide, you might want to approve it like that or not, but the language that I just want to point out to you that draws some concern for me is that rate increases in his rate shall be automatic without coming to the council or the board for any approval. And that could be done once a year. And it doesn't state how much of a rate increase or things like that. Normally rate increases are done by the council or the board. But again, that's my concern, that's the way it's worded. If y'all might decide you want to approve it that way, that's up to you.
Is there a term agreed on this? There's no term.
So we could go 6 months without meeting with someone. And we can still come back and say, that needs to come to EDC first, and then council, and see if we can just amend his agreement. So-
Yeah, I would just put it there that any rate increases shall be approved by either the board or EDC, the council or EDC.
And he's very, he's the one that tells us to go by the hour. Because there's a fee that he charges every city, I think it's $1,500. That's only me every quarter, so
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna take advantage of that. I said, why don't you do this
Yeah.
as needed? And that's what we all agree.
so I think
Very
that before we
honest.
sign
Yeah,
it, we sign it, maybe we can see about just adding
Right.
the wording that
Change
Epi
it to
talked
that.
about. Again, just to make sure that
Yeah.
we're not held or bound by anything in the future. So we're gonna move forward we have a motion to,
Just have to change his motion?
No, just,
Revision?
Motion, I guess the motion can, to approve contingent on,
the wording?
to
Wording
the amendment. to-
that any rate
contingent on
increase, just
Yeah,
change it
just,
to,
with any rate increase, go with the council.
You want it to go to EDC first, then council, or just to council?
Well, we would have to go before EDC
Yeah.
first, because
Right.
they're.
Yeah, EDC and then.
So EDC and council have to.
Yeah, yeah. EDC, then council.
so we'll move forward with approval of the resolution 639 for the EC to enter into an agreement with Goosh Law Firm PLLC to provide legal services, place 1,
Yes.
place 2, place 3,
Yes.
place 4,
Yes.
place 5.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item C, discuss, consider, and take action to approve resolution 640 for the Odom Economic Development to spend up to $3,000 for the Easter in the Park event on April 12th, 2025 at Veterans Park. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 640.
I'll second it.
A motion by Councilman Huerta, second by Councilman Candela. We'll open up to discussion. Jesse?
Well-
Is Eastern Park gonna be sponsored by EDC?
That's what,
EDC, and, OEA was there at our meeting. He's not being funded. He's just donating.
yeah, we're just gonna organize the event. The EDC, Economic Development is actually funding the,
This is,
So in the-
what do you want to go ahead?
No, go ahead.
It's the same as last year, the
Helicopter?
helicopter drop.
The egg, so the EDC will pay for the pre-filled eggs, the helicopter, the park rental, I think that was it, right?
What date? April, date, what's your date?
April 12th,
April 12th, guys. Oh, it's on there,
it's on there.
Y'all just decide on the time, I guess.
We say 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock?
Yeah, the,
Three.
so
The council can waive the fee.
Yeah, because it's.
well, see, here's, one of the things we learned in our class was that the EDC should not get anything for free from the city and vice versa, right? So it's almost like what's gonna come down, when I warned EDC this, was like, it's like, y'all pay for my services, right, that I provide for EDC. Now that we got Betsy on board, she's doing some work for EDC. She's supposed to have, like, EDC is supposed to compensate her as well. My clerks spend a small portion of their time doing work with EDC, so EDC needs to start compensating. So there shouldn't be no gimmies in between. So yes, council can waive it, but I'm just telling you, that's the black and white of how it needs to work between EDC and the city.
So do we have to so do we have to re-motion with waiving the fees?
I don't know.
What's that?
He wants to.
I don't
he
wanna
wants, he
charge
wants,
them fees.
he wants to say the way this.
Because they're doing it for the community. I mean, geez.
And I get all
Well,
that.
actually, it sounds good, but it's all legality.
It's legal.
It's only $100 some dollars.
It's, well,
No,
yeah,
300.
it's about 300,
350.
300, yeah.
It's not that much.
No, I mean, we have a meeting in April, the first week, this is on the 12th, so we can put it on the agenda for the April meeting. If we want to waive it. Which
Like I
is
said, we'd have to explore the legalities of it. 'Cause
April.
That was one of the things that we learned from our training.
We hired him, so he could call.
Yeah.
Done it.
Yeah, April 1st.
Yeah, that'll be his first
So-
research
His
project.
first
Yeah.
It's first $200.
So we can go ahead and just revisit it,
Yeah.
just talk to him, and then we can put it on the agenda for April 1st. All right.
It's $200 and he's gonna tell you, go ahead, pay the
Pay the
300.
300.
We wiped out.
That just cost us $5.
Yep.
Right.
It's $500.
That
So-
cost us $5.
We're gonna go ahead and take a vote. We have a motion to take action to approve Resolution 640 for the Odom Economic Development to spend $3,000 for the Eastern the Park event. If there's no more discussion, place 1,
Yes.
place 2,
Yes.
place 3,
Yes.
place 4,
Yes.
place 5.
Yes.
All right, motion carries.
Also on 638, we gotta have a public hearing, right?
He's gonna work on that.
Then we gotta wait 60 days.
I'll talk to him. He had to go back to Austin, so.
All right, so we'll move on to reports and announcements. Item A, city administrator receive an update on the projects approved for reimbursement by the San Patricio Drainage District. Sal, do you want to go ahead and share that?
Yes. So I attended the last drainage district meeting. So there is as far as the Willis and Front Street drainage issue, there is there's an application we need to fill out through, because part of that is Union Pacific property. We have to fill out an application that's about $3,000 with that fee. There's no guarantee that we get that back, just to be completely transparent, but what the San Patricio Drainage District did approve, reimbursing us for that. The second was, I did mention that we needed a lot of culverts cleared out, a lot of ditches cleaned out, storm drains flushed or vacuumed out. And they approved up to $50,000 for that to reimburse us for.
You know how much money we have with them right now?
About 300,000.
300,000?
Yes.
Just also, we can do the work, Mayor, and just bill them. I mean, if Sal can go up there and just say, hey, get a contractor and do it, just bill them.
Right.
They'll pay it, right? Did I get that right?
If what?
We can go get it, like, she go hire the contractor and just bill them.
Oh, yeah, that's how it works. Like, we basically are out of pocket at first, and then we send them the invoice and then they reimburse us. So, yeah, we can.
So it's like in-kind work.
Sort of. Well, kind of. It's just like,
Oh,
yeah.
Well, in-kind because we're doing the work. If not, they could have said, no, you can't. You gotta hire a third party.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, they're
We're gonna get our money.
right. As long as we're under 50,000, they'll reimburse us. As long as we try to get receipts and stuff like that. So.
They're saying on a project like that, we need the drains before hurricane season starts. You know?
Yeah, we need to work on
Yeah,
that.
get
Right around the corner.
Right around.
Looks good the way I did over here
So,
on the main street.
Yeah, we're getting there, and we need to look at that area on Main Street, that needs, on the opposite side of the city
Amen.
hall side needs to be fixed, so.
so we'll move on to item B, receive an update on the project to collect city utility customers' high delinquent balances. Sal, did you print out the,
Yes, it's in your,
oh,
so there was a, without getting into too much detail, because we're not gonna get into all that, but just, and I can,
Right.
later on, if you want more detail.
Yeah, no
No,
name,
nothing's
no
up there.
names or addresses.
Nothing's up there. They just have a printout. with,
Okay.
Your printout,
Okay.
your printout only has the account numbers.
Okay.
So with that being said, there was a substantial amount of customers who had over $1,000 in delinquent utility bills. So I sent a letter out early February to all those individuals that they needed to come in and make arrangements. I was setting them up with a 12-month plan that they would have to pay their regular bill on whatever their outstanding amount was divided by 12, and that's how I came up with what they needed to pay per month for the next 12 months, starting next, which would be their February bill. So for that, whatever they get this month, right?
I don't see that.
So out of that, sorry, I lost my page here.
Yeah, I don't see that in here, Sal. Oh, okay, never mind.
I know you came on board, Sal, but maybe you know, how did it get this far when somebody gives a deposit right there and then? Because we're the ones that decide on the deposit, and it's been increased. So
People got,
why don't they get cut off?
they're getting cut off now. Before I came in, like I said, this was just.
But on these people, how did it, I know you weren't here.
Yeah, my assumption is that they were just, okay, I'll pay $20, and whoever was in charge of that said that's fine. And they would just pay another $20 on top, or they wouldn't make payment. There was a lot of wiggle room, and probably a little too much. So like I tell, and I've only had 1, 2, 3, 4 people come into the office to make arrangements and sign the agreement. Everyone else is basically on that cutoff list this week. So they're gonna be, and that's the option they have, is your services are gonna get turned off. You gotta come in with the current month's bill, and you have to sign the agreement, but you can't come in with half the money and sign the agreement. You know, we just have to be a little hard-nosed. So
Yeah, I think that what's happening is that Miss Angela was pretty much given kind of by the previous city administrator, was kind of given the authority to kind of make arrangements. And she was kind of, well, how much can, not really saying, okay, you have to pay this much. It was like, well, how much extra can you pay to this month? Well, I can pay.
Lenient.
Yeah, you know, and I mean, I understand, because I mean, she wasn't really in a position to be making, you know, the decisions that needed to be made. And, you know, some days, you know, people would come pay $20, but, you know, couldn't pay the entire bill, the entire water bill, you know. So, and it was actually, talking to Angela, there were some times where people would say, well, I can't pay but $50, and their water bill was $150. So I'd say, okay, well, just make that, when can you pay the rest? Well, I can pay next week. And then, of course, next week would come. Exactly. So Sal brought this to my attention. I said, well, you know what? You need to sit down, make a list. We need to find out, because we're looking at just with these, I think we're looking around $20,000. And then we still have others that are like lower. So we're looking somewhere close.
15, because we did have some people come in and,
Okay.
you know.
And I actually talked to Sal about talking to Epi about if people don't pay, if we can actually go to court and file some kind of like theft of service. I don't know if it's something that we could do if it would go, something that we could do if they don't pay.
Shut 'em up.
But I think that.
We can't do that.
Shutting them off, and I mean, I've talked to Lineberger, and they're willing to take.
Yeah, Lineberger will do collections for us.
Lineberger do collections, so it can go, you know. But that's the thing is, I mean, it's a tough decision, to be honest with you, because I understand people are on a fixed income. But, you know, my job at the city is to just make sure that we're doing good business.
Well, gas company will shut you off.
Right, so, you know,
I think every other city will shut you off at 5 o'clock.
yeah.
That
Well, we've
day.
also had issues, and I think with South, we've also had issues where we've cut people off and then go back and they turn the water back on themselves.
Oh, that I believe.
So,
That's why
you
we
know,
had that.
Well, that is criminal. Then you can file with tampering or defacing city
It's okay.
property.
Theft of it.
And we,
Yeah.
and we have,
Criminal.
we've caught somebody and I've filed charges with the sheriff's office. So
Right.
that's happening. So if anyone's thinking about doing that and think they're gonna get away with it, they're not. So anyway, I think this is a fair plan. All they have to do, and majority of people just come in and make an arrangement. Like I said, it's something that needs to be done. Otherwise, this is gonna keep getting worse for everybody. So.
I think that we're spending a lot of time with the judge. I think the judge and Effie have been becoming best friends. I know she's been blowing up your phone, trying to collect fees for the citations and that kind of stuff. So I think that this is something that we also have to kind of tackle, is collecting these past due fees as well. So the other, we're going to go ahead and move on to item C, receive an update on new efforts to update addresses for the 911 to assist the Council of Governments 911 network. And I think this is what we were talking about earlier. Go ahead, Sal.
So this started with an email I got from the COG 911 addressing division. I honestly didn't know what they were talking about, so I just asked, I said, can we just meet up? So they offered to bring me over for a day with other address, 911 addressing agent. So basically what this means is that the Council of Governments has a department. What they do is they work with the counties to make sure that all addresses are up to par, that they match whatever, in case of an emergency, right? So if someone can have, down to making sure people have numbers on their homes, because that can cause a huge issue. Down to confirming, I know like off of East Humphrey Street, towards the Cotton Gin, there's only one row of houses, but they're every other number instead of just straight numbers. Why that was decided. So they want to know, do you want to keep it that way, or do you want to just want to change the addresses? So that's the decision that we have to make. And then coming in on the new projects, you know, so what they run into is that when you're not on top of it, a developer can decide what the numbers are. And the developer's not considering that sometimes you're just going by all the meetings, and if they don't do that. So that's another thing is we want to be working with them closely and we start we get closer to developing these new areas so that we can make sure we have proper numbers. But it was actually not that bad compared to a lot of other areas. Normally, this is the main responsibility of the county. However, the county just lost their 911 addressing individuals, so a lot of it's falling back to us. And Angela had been getting these emails, and she wasn't completely clear on what to do with them. But now, then last week, they came in and actually met with the staff, including Betsy, and kind of went over the process with them. They installed some software. It's really basic stuff on our some of our PCs, so that we can actually do a little GISing on our own. GISing stands for Geographic Information System. I just learned that. So, and that sort of ties into also, you know, making sure that our zone maps are up to date, and those zone maps are going to the proper authorities like the tax appraisers. Their records are out of date. Remember, we kind of figured that out during when we had that whole thing with the agriculture commercial for the Flagstop thing. So this is a step in the right direction. Like I said, as far as we were told by representatives from the COG that we're not in too bad a shape. We just have to look at a few addresses, confirm that those are the right addresses. I've seen some houses without numbers, so we just got to make contact with those individuals and let them know they got to put the numbers, because it's for their safety. And a lot of this is just to make sure that when 911 gets called, the ambulance, the fire, the sheriff's office, they know where to go. And that's what that boils down to. So
This has been going on for years and years. As far as the addresses.
I think it was in the county commissioners meeting, county commissioners agenda on Monday, a GIS.
the
thing.
position,
Yes.
yeah, because they resigned, I think, a couple.
Yeah,
weeks
so
ago.
that's a big thing right now.
All right, so we'll move to item D. This is Council Member Place 4, Jesse, TML Region 11 meeting and potential future EDC projects.
Okay, a couple of things, Mayor. As you, I don't know if y'all realize it, the legislature's coming up this year, a big thing's coming up. A lot of things going on for our little city. Couple of things, well, the street maintenance, they want to go 6 years instead of 4 years on the taxes now. So that'd be a good thing for us. Legal notices, they're trying to get away from the newspaper, maybe just doing the internet. So that might be something else we could look at. Let's see other things, and then, let's see, voters, the annexation, ETJs, there's a lot of stuff going on, so just keep an eye on it, and we'll keep you updated. You know, like Bush says, there's a lot of them, but as it comes, it gets shorter and shorter.
Well, a lot of these haven't even made it to
I know,
committee
so
yet, so.
we'll keep you advised on that. So as it gets closer for our little city, we'll
Yeah,
update you.
Anything that's gonna affect us.
Yes,
you know,
we'll keep you updated. And future project for ADC, we want to get like you were talking about, get the citizens, I guess, opinion on the park. We put that swing set. I know people want to put it over here. We want to get a master plan. So we're probably going to hire a designer just to get a master plan. The mayor just showed me a picture of a dome basketball court, which is perfect. But where to put it? You know, over here, over there. So we're going to get a designer to do that.
That park over there,
Yes.
schools, the one that already has a basketball court,
Yes, sir.
it belongs to the school?
No.
Yes.
Yes, the one by the
Oh,
swimming
school,
pool.
school, yeah.
Swimming pool.
That's cool.
The one where the swimming pool's at?
That's cool.
That's there.
That's cool.
It belongs to the school, but that whole area, it's supposed to be a project that involves the county, the city of Odom, and the school. But the school chose to take it on. That includes the trail and everything.
Yeah, because they do have a trail.
But they, for some reason, they stopped meeting and all that.
And the pool's
It's just
green.
dissolved.
Since you brought up the trail, I got a question. I walk my dog and sometimes during school hours, I go through that trail. Is there an issue with people? No one's ever said anything, but you know how they feel about people being on school grounds. Is that an issue, that trail, or?
No, like I said, all that trail is part of that swimming pool project.
Okay.
So you can walk it.
Yeah, I do, but I've often wondered, is this a problem with the school?
No.
Yeah.
Well, they should know better that it's a project, so. Like I said, there used to be.
I said, as long as you ain't walking with it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, getting back to EDC project.
Go ahead.
Okay, that's about it. We might have a meeting probably the next week and a half.
Is that the meeting?
Oh, no. And EDC projects, that's what we're talking about.
So
And,
the big light that you want to put in.
Oh, yes, we're trying to get right here at this park here, right, lower, right, lower.
No, this one.
Past
Right
the
there.
building.
No.
Right there.
Go back, this way.
Sounds like you're scratching my back.
Yeah.
Over to the left.
Towards the little building in the middle,
In the middle?
Sal,
Because
Right in the middle, we're gonna put, we're gonna
where the pump building is.
design it,
Over here.
Modesco, the one that got the baseball lights. We had the gentleman come out here and give us a quote, pretty good quote, under 50, put one big light to cover the whole park.
good, 'cause none of those lights work.
So that's a project, I mean, like I said, we get input for everybody, have one big light and they cover the whole park.
And I think what's really good is they can design it the way the baseball field is, where it's not gonna light to the neighbors.
Mhm.
We can actually control it by phone. So, Sal can have an app on his phone, or I can have, or
Yeah.
Jesse. And if we need to turn it on or turn it off, we can turn it on and off when as needed.
And
Um,
it'll shoot under the canopy of the trees, so it's not gonna just come down, it can be angled
good.
design.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, sir.
Instead of building another basketball court, because you already got some more here in the school, why not build a skateboard?
That's Billy's project.
But a basketball court, this would be more for the public. Over there, they turn off the lights, they control. Over here, we're
Yeah.
gonna be able to control our lights.
Yeah, I think the thing is that we have, I think we've talked about that, but it's like, how many skateboarders do we really have in town when it comes to, if we build a basketball, I think Jesse's even said we could be multi-use, where we can have pickleball. I think that's becoming a big deal now for us old timers, where we can play pickleball. They can have pickleball courts there / basketball courts. I mean, there's a lot of different things that we can do. So.
They have
It's
have
like mini tennis ball, like Venice tennis.
Well, they have these covered, I mean, they're basketball courts, but the hoops go up.
Go up.
And then it's covered, so it can double as a meeting space or a.
Yeah, for parties.
Parties or
Yeah,
whatever,
so-
large events, so.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
That's just some project we're thinking about. If y'all want any other project, you call Sal,
Email me.
email Sal if you say, hey. We also got, Sharp Park is part of the city and Veterans Park is also part of the city too, so. And then also EDC is economic development. It's for, enjoyment of the city to enhance city. We're gonna get baseball lights for the Little League. We're trying to get that going, so. Anything y'all guys, call Sal, call the mayor.
Email.
Yeah, email.
Email, you don't like to call.
We're actually looking at hosting another outdoor event in September for Hispanic Heritage Month. Rudy Trevino from the Domingo Live is going to be helping us out on marketing the event. Del Mar College is also going to be participating. I'm meeting with the Cultural Museum of Hispanic something. At Heritage Park tomorrow. They have a meeting. I'm going to meet with them. They're interested in participating. We're hoping that with these kind of people participating and being part of the event, that we can actually make it an annual thing. We'll be going on Domingo Live to market and to kind of, you sell the event so we can hopefully, have our own little event here. Aransas Pass has a shrimpery, Rockport has
There's
theirs.
something going there.
And we can have something that we can do on a yearly basis where people want to come and enjoy our little community and share. We used to have the Jubilee at one time, yeah, and that kind of, yeah. So, so hopefully, that'll work out and we can start using these parks. So thank you all. Do I have
Well, wait. Happy Mardi Gras Day, whatever it is.
Oh, Mardi Gras Day.
You got to 12. You got to 12.
Do I have
I actually came for one reason. I was here back in October, I think, about the dog at my dad's house, and I haven't been back since because I always forget. But I want to thank, I know that Sal, Jesse, the mayor, and Isaac, and I don't know if anyone else went by my dad's house, but those four I know y'all made an effort to help my dad, and I appreciate it. I just want to. It's really why I came.
We got a new dog park coming up, so.
So anyway, thank you.
Do I have a motion to
I mean,
adjourn? I have a motion to adjourn. Second by Councilman Candela. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Joint Fat Tuesday. That's right. Tomorrow's Ash Wednesday.
I know I had scheduled